Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. We're gonna build a new lot in Vacation Island. It's gonna be where the Bare Essentials Lodge used to be. I'd like to build this kind of like a hostel or like a communal living kind of vacation lot, almost like a summer camp. You can't really have children go on excursions with teachers, but I think that's the kind of vibe I have in mind, rather than sort of fancy hotel in the woods. Although actually maybe we'll make things a little bit fancy. Maybe we'll make this kind of like a luxury camp, or maybe a luxury hostel. We're gonna play it by ear a little bit. I think I'm just moving the trees out of the way because I like to keep the trees until I'm sure I want to get rid of them, and then I just delete them. But my plan is to have an actual outdoor part of the lot kind of on this side. We're just going to put a few tents to kind of, you know, tell us where things are going to be. This side of the lot is going to be more like the inside bit, where there'll be places to sleep, food, etc. Okay, actually I think I will just delete these trees at the back. I'd like to have the entrance to the hostel slash check-in area for the camp, whatever it is that we're calling it. I like to have that kind of around here in this back left corner, and I might try and use some diagonal walls. I usually try and avoid using diagonal walls because you can't place anything on them in The Sims 1, so it's a bit annoying, but maybe it could make the shape of the building look quite cool. I think I want to have a driveway that comes up the front here, so if you were getting dropped off at camp or at the hostel, you wouldn't just have to be dropped off on the road. I suppose then we'd need a little car park or a turning circle, wouldn't we? Could we fit that in? I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be enough space for that. Let's see. Okay, I think we're eating too much into this outdoor side of the lot with the turning circle. So I'm going to make this part over here a little bit smaller. Then we'll move the turning circle idea over here. I'd quite like to have a lot of fences with little gaps in between, kind of like this, and then paths connecting into different areas. I just don't think there's going to be enough space. I wanted to still have a lake, you see. I wanted to have like a lake over here. Is there going to be enough room now? Actually, what if we moved the tent area more into this back corner? Then maybe we could still have a lake area. I like the idea of a little welcome sign in the middle of the turning circle for the car park, except it's not a car park, with some bears looking down to just remind you whose territory you're really in. We're still going to need an actual check-in area though, because I'm not thinking of this as like a hotel, but it's going to basically function as a hotel. I guess we'll do that on this side. Although we definitely need some outdoor activities like the rental shed, and we need a campfire. We can move everything around, it's just to kind of get some stuff out and see what there is. We definitely need the water balloon war fortress, and we need some bows and arrows. I want to have a bit of an overhang with the second story, so we could place some pillars outside the front here, and then when we go upstairs, the upstairs will be a little bit larger. I think because this is like a communal place to stay, there's not really going to be separate bedrooms. We're just going to have 2 dormitories upstairs. I guess in theory, 1 for male Sims and 1 for female Sims. So I'll put some beds in here just so we know that that's what these rooms are going to be for. But I think because this side here is a bit smaller, maybe we'll have the check-in area actually over here. We've got the lake here, and I've put a fishing pier on this side of the lake. But I'm kind of wondering, it might be quite cool to have 2 lakes. I don't know if that's a bit ambitious. Or maybe like a small pond and then a larger lake, so they're kind of like divided. And then there's a little path in between, maybe coming down here, because I'm kind of connecting up this little area at the front with these dirt paths where we've got some outdoor activities like the archery and the water balloon fighting station. And it's not like Sims have to actually stick to where the paths are, obviously they won't, but I think it still looks quite nice. Also, if this is going to be a place where you bring children for summer camp, it would be quite nice to have a little tuck shop, I think, a place where you can buy sweets and other little bits and pieces, because we've got the candy stands. I don't know what you call these, but it says these can only be used by adults, so that's kind of spoiling that idea a little bit. Although, who's to say we don't have a little area for adults to buy each other gifts? You know, this could be more like a adult resort, even if it's like a camp. You know, like a place where they would film a reality show, kind of like a dating show, but instead of in a villa on an island, it's like in a forest instead. But it's still kind of a retreat and it's away from day-to-day life, and you have to hand in your phones and you can't have any contact with the outside world. I think we could be looking at a multi-purpose summer camp. Maybe this can be hired out for adults, and then also it can be hired out for children's activities. And then when it's hired out for neither, it's just for families to come to. I think I'd like to have a little adult space where 2 Sims can kind of have a bit of a private moment. I'm not saying that woohooing would really be allowed, because we're going to have Sims staying in dormitories after all. I'm not quite sure how to divide up these upstairs areas. I think it's maybe a little bit big actually. I was very keen to have this out the front, but I think this might be a bit big. We could maybe make this part a bit smaller. And I'm thinking that this is the dining room down here. And then I've put these spiral staircases in as kind of placeholders. I don't know if we're going to use them, because this one now comes out on this balcony. And I don't know, like we could divide this space in 2 and have 2 dormitories. I think we could put some big windows maybe along this wall, because I know it's just pointing to the edge of the lot, but on the Vacation Island map, it's pointing in the direction of the port where you come in. So maybe when you're having breakfast in here, you could theoretically be looking down to the port and seeing the ships come into Vacation Island. I think the dining area is starting to take shape. I want it to look sort of woodeny on the inside, but not full-on wood cabin vibes, but also not too fancy, because I don't think this is super luxury. So we've got quite cheap chairs. I was sort of thinking, is this going to be more like glamping, but I don't think so. It's kind of just meeting basic needs, and if you want to go somewhere fancier, you can go to the hotel up the road. Then we're going to have this as one of the dormitories upstairs, but I think we want to have some more toilets in here. I've also put windows in everywhere upstairs. We might add a few more, so at least there's light up here. And I think this area where the spiral staircase comes up is going to be more like a landing area. Then we're going to have separate toilets, and I was thinking we could have a showers only room, but now I'm wondering maybe we just keep the showers in where the toilets are, much like what I've done down here with the downstairs toilets. I think we could have like an actual private bathroom in here. Private in the sense of it doesn't have a cubicle, so it's kind of like a accessible baby change disabled type toilet that anybody can use if you want a bit more privacy. And maybe we put the fancier shower in here as well. I want this room to be a kind of upstairs games room, so maybe in the evening when you're not out doing camp activities outside, you can just be inside playing games. I think we're going to use this Chipper Chapper quite plain wall covering basically everywhere, because I want to create a quite uniform feel across all of the rooms, except maybe the bathrooms. We'll put something else in there. I used it downstairs as well. Yeah, I don't think the dormitories should be particularly pretty. These are not hotel rooms. They kind of are just providing basic needs for multiple Sims in one space. I guess we could put a few things on the wall here and there. There was a little gap in between the rental shack and the pond here, so I thought it would be kind of fun to have a lookout spot. I don't know if this is really going to be usable because it's so small, but the idea is you can come up and then do some stargazing when it gets dark as kind of an evening activity, maybe one night of the week that you're here. It looks a bit funny with the floor tiles overhanging the edge, but I think you need that for it to have a roof over the columns, so I think it looks okay. I'll put a few more decorations in the dormitories so it looks a little bit less sparse, but it's still quite spacious and a little bit empty. I don't want to say soulless, but it's not super personal as a space, but I think that's the idea. I kind of feel like we should play test the lot and see how it works when kids come and stay here. Let's call the shuttle for Vacation Island. This family has 5 children. Well, it used to have 7, but 2 of them went to military school. So maybe they're in need of a strict summer camp experience. Or maybe they just need to get away and have some fun. Either way, we're just going to test the lot and see if it functions okay. Here we are at summer camp. We're just going to have the Sims do a few different activities. We'll see what they kind of gravitate towards. See if any Sims get stuck. We'll check in at the check-in desk. This little back part of the lot, I need to add something here. It's a little bit sparse, so we'll come back and add something to that. There's a Sim here who's able to use the table football, so that's good. I was wondering if it was maybe too small to get in there. Let's try out the dormitories. Another thing I want to check is when it gets dark, if we've got enough lights all over the lot, because there's no way to check that in build mode. The telescope lookout area, that seems to work fine, so that's good. Lots of Sims using the fishing pier. As we saw before, kids cannot buy candies, and I added flowers here and they can't buy flowers either, but I think they can buy, yeah, they can buy postcards. By the looks of things, inside is pretty well lit, but I think it's a little bit too dark outside, so we could go back and add a few more lights. Although some of these do make a difference. These lights in the turning circle. Archery seems to work pretty good, except my Sim is standing in this tree. Maybe I should move that tree. So let's put some more lights outside. I think we need a few lights in the games room as well. It looked a little bit dark. Also, now that everything upstairs is all in place, I think we can safely delete some of these columns because there's quite a lot of them under here, and then maybe it would kind of lead the way to our little hot tub area a little bit more neatly because it looks a bit messy at the moment. I mean, before I had actual walls out here with lights on them and some of the sun blind awnings, but I think it was just like a little bit too much. I like the idea of this being slightly closed off and slightly apart from the rest of the lot, but it's not literally a secret place, so it doesn't need to be hidden. There was a little bit of space just out here next to the washing up room, so I put some arcade games and just a few more plants where there was a little bit of space, because I still think of this as all outside, even though it is kind of covered over by the upstairs. I've put quite a few more lights around the outside now, so it shouldn't be so dark at night time. I think we're pretty much finished with the lot. I still think overall it's more for kids, because I was kind of thinking it was like maybe this place where adults would come for a reality show. I mean, maybe, why not? If you're interested in having this lot in your game, the download link will be in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.